We need to understand as believers that to be separated from the presence of God means to be separated from the benefits of being in His presence. We know that when we are in His presence, we have the benefit of all His blessings. That when we are in His presence, we have the benefit of all His promises. That is when we walk in His righteousness and walk in obedience to His commandments. But the minute that we choose to live in sin, the minute that we choose to give in to the desires of our flesh, then separate ourselves from the presence of the Lord. And once we are separated from the presence of the Lord, we cannot stand and think that the promises which were spoken over those that walked in His righteousness are the same promises that will benefit us while we are walking in disobedience. We see in the beginning that when Adam and Eve sinned against the Lord, they were removed from the Garden of Eden, which was given unto them by the Lord. And because they were removed, the things that were spoken over them were then null and void. They then lived under a curse where they had to toil, where if you compare to the life that was promised to them by the Lord in the Garden of Eden, you compare it to the curses that were spoken over them, it is the complete opposite to what the Lord had given them while they were in Eden. And we see also with Cain and Abel, after Cain had killed Abel, he then was separated as well from the presence of the Lord. So what makes us think that we can continue to live in sin, the very thing that separates us from the Lord, yet still be beneficiaries of the promises that the Lord has made to His children that walk in obedience, yet we do not have a relationship with the Lord, because we know the Bible tells us that in order for us to have a relationship with the Lord, we must walk in His commandments, walk in His righteousness. So if we are not walking according to His commandments, we are separated from Him. We do not know Him. And the Bible tells us it is better for us to not have known the truth and sinned than for us to have known the truth, only for us to return back to the very lifestyle that separated us from the Lord. We are then no different to a dog that returns to his vomit. So no, it is not okay for you to know that lying is a sin and yet still continue to lie, thinking that it will not affect you, because a sin is a sin. I would like to encourage every believer to put away all the things that so easily entangle you and cause you to sin. Lay them at the feet of the Lord. Invite Him, invite His Spirit to help you to be able to overcome those things, because we know that on our own we are weak, we are unable to overcome the flesh. But when we are yielded to His Spirit to guide us onto how to overcome, we are then able to overcome the enemy, to resist these desires, to resist the enemy, and he flees from us. But we get to this point by being yielded to His Spirit through His Word. When we know His will, we know right from wrong. We know what brings us life in abundance, and we know what leads us to death. We will always lean towards the side of life, no matter what is happening around us. Nothing would cause us to conform to the ways of the world, but instead we want to stand on what is right, continuing to walk in the righteousness of the Lord.